This is the best job.
It's Collective Live!
Interesting choice. I mean, I guess it makes sense. Anyway. Oh, hey! Welcome to Collective Live. We're so glad you decided to join us this week. We've got an incredible episode lined up for you, and Zane from our Glenwood campus is going to bring a word about the Apostle Paul as we continue our Zero to Hero series. As we jump into the episode, let's check out this week's video challenge.
Hey Collective Youth, it was a lot of fun watching those tutorial videos, but take a look at some of the best.
Hey guys, it's Tori. I'm basically just teaching you guys how to curl my hair. It's a wand. I have a wand. Clamping. Curling iron works too. Just don't use the clamp part because that's what makes your hair like that at the end, like how it like sticks up. So I recommend not using that. Take a shower. This. It's split remedy. It reduces up to 80% of split ends after 3 uses. But anyways, so basically, if you want like medium curls, then take a piece about this big, maybe like to right there, and bring it up the middle of your finger, and then like do it like this, and then like wrap it around. I think that this is what makes the curls look prettier. Like wrap it up. Count 20 or longer, actually.
Ollie here, we're going to show you how to cut some kale stems, so let's get started. This is going to be kind of easy to do. We're going to just turn this way, and then we're going to expose our stems, and we're just going to cut the bottoms off to remove our stems. And that's how you cut kale stems. Thank you for watching. Stay smooth.
Hi, I'm Sue Walker, and I'm going to show you how to make toast from bread. The most common way to make toast is to use a regular toaster or a tabletop toaster oven. The first thing you want to do is decide whether you want light, medium, or dark toast. If you look at your toaster or toaster oven, they will have knobs that will indicate whether it's light, medium, dark. All you have to do is take the knob and turn it to the setting you want. If you're using a toaster, take your slice of bread and put it into the slot and just push the lever down. And when the toast is done, it'll pop up. If you're using a toaster oven, place your bread inside the toaster oven, close the door, and when the timer goes off, your toast will be done. And that is how you make toast from bread.
Okay, so I'm doing the blender challenge with a number 1 from McDonald's and Dr. Pepper, just like you said. So, and I'll try my best to drink all of it. Oh! Smells exactly like a hamburger, so I mean it could be good. And I put in a clear cup so you know I drink it. Okay, go. delicious.
This week's challenge is amazing because we want to see the talents that you all have. And so here's what you need to do. Show us of a talent that you have to offer this world. And so it could be skateboarding, it could be flying in the air, to surfing in the ocean, even though we don't have oceans around here. But anyway, show us something, send it to us, 20-second clip, tag us on Instagram, or hit up matthias.matley@calvary.ch. We're looking forward to seeing how amazing our students are. Send those in. We'll see you soon.
What's going on, everybody? It's time for another Leader versus Leader challenge. Today we have a battle between Jenna and James, and they're going to be playing a game called the 5-second rule. Now in this game, they're each going to be given a category, and they have 5 seconds to name 3 things that fit within that category. And if they don't, well, there's kind of a punishment. So we're going to get this started off with an old-fashioned game of rock, paper, scissors. Let's go ahead and get started.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Cool. Okay, you get to go first.
All right, are you ready for this?
I don't know. So.
Name 3 Dr. Seuss books.
Oh, the places we'll go. 1 Fish, 2 Fish, and Green Eggs and Ham.
All right.
Little did you know, I am a Dr. Seuss enthusiast. Let's just get a little. I feel like that's a good amount. Maybe just a little. We'll just see what happens. I'm just gonna. Oh! It just stuck right to your forehead. That's hilarious.
That's great.
All right. Are you ready for this next one?
I'm ready. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm so ready. Name 3 things not to do in an interview.
Lie, sneeze, or leave.
Lie, sneeze, or leave? You know what?
That's totally.
Judges? There's no judges here.
no
I don't know.
judges.
So I guess it works. You said 3 things, and I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you. Okay. Wow, Jenna, that's a lot more than. Okay. Hey, just so you know, I'm probably gonna get another chance to throw it at you.
Yeah,
so
probably,
maybe be respectful. I was just like on my neck. All right, that's good enough. That's good enough.
Okay.
All right, I'm ready.
Are you so ready?
Yeah, this is gonna be easy.
Okay.
I'm pretty.
Put this here.
Feeling pretty confident. I don't know.
Okay. Name 3 things you do when no one's looking.
Pick my nose, go to the bathroom, and cry during chick flicks.
During chick flicks.
During chick flicks.
With the admission of that. Ooh.
Jenna, you're starting a war. I don't even know if you know what you're gonna. That is the perfect throw.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Ready?
I mean, you
We'll
might be able to
keep
wipe
going.
a little bit of that off.
No, I got
The score is 2-1, Jenna.
Okay.
The score's 2-1.
There we go.
Here we go. Here we go.
I'll do it with one eye. Okay. Name 3 winter outdoor activities.
Sledding, snowshoeing, hiking, tobogganing. Like I said hiking because I just wanted to make sure. Whoa! What are you doing?
I felt like I should be able to do that.
Yeah,
I'm not thinking straight now that I
that's
can't
all right.
see.
I was like-
Okay.
I was like, Jen, I don't know what's going on over there.
Oh
but-
dear.
Oh, just added on. That actually added perfectly to where it was. It added to where it had been.
Oh man.
Mine fell
Okay.
off. So you know what? Just for the
There
sake
you
of
go.
the game,
That's good.
I'll get it back up in there. You know, just get a little bit back up in there.
This is good.
Here we go.
Okay.
Ooh, Jenna, name 3 yellow foods.
A banana. Yellow Laffy Taffy.
Let's go! Time is up. Oh
Okay,
my
okay. Oh man, I have shaving cream everywhere. Okay.
It's just getting more and more on the center of your face.
I can't even see.
That is hilarious.
Okay. Whew. All right. Name 3 of Winnie the Pooh's friends.
Tigger, Eeyore, and Piglet.
Oh my word.
It's been like a week since I've seen Winnie the Pooh, probably.
Okay, a week.
Wait, what?
Okay.
This is my favorite game I've played so far.
I think I've lost. I
don't know. I don't know what the score is. Let's do a couple more.
Okay. It's your turn.
Oh, it's my turn. My bad. Jenna named 3 road signs.
Stop, yield, and do not enter.
Yeah. That's true.
Okay. Woo! Finally.
Oh my yeah, you gotta catch up for some late pride. Wow, okay. What would Jesus do? Here we go. Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh.
Righty. I think it's your turn to ask
Okay.
me one.
I can't see.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay. Okay. Name 3 dice games.
Oh no. I honestly can't think of a single one.
Yes,
so I
Yahtzee.
just know. I know it's Yahtzee. I can only think of cribbage. Jenna, hey, take it easy. Okay, I can't see anything now. I hope this is what you wanted.
It is. It is actually. Oh, okay. Who's gonna give me a score right now?
Okay, I have a feeling this is gonna be the last one.
Okay.
This is gonna be the last one.
Okay.
All right, Jenna. Name 3 things found at a circus.
A clown, a tiger, and a lion.
Tiger and a lion?
Yeah.
Oh, I
Those
don't
are-
know. Hey, Jenna, I'm saying I don't know.
Those are
I'm
best.
saying that it's not that. Jenna, stop. Jenna, the game's over. It's over, Jenna. I won.
Did you?
Oh my goodness.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Well, that one was definitely interesting. I'm not really sure who was the winner of that one. It could be James, could be Jenna. Go ahead and leave in the chat who you think actually won, and we'll make sure to crown the proper winner. But guys, thank you so much for joining us on another Leader versus Leader challenge. We'll look forward to next week.
Hey Collective, it's great to be back with you guys for another lesson in our series, Zero to Hero. Last week we heard an awesome message from Brandon talking about Moses and his faithfulness. And before we get started with today's, I want to ask you guys to go ahead and comment in the chat next to me in this video. What's the hardest thing you've ever had to do in your entire life, physical or not? Hardest thing you've ever had to do. Go ahead and comment in the chat, and then I'm going to talk to you about some other stuff. So now everybody, you have your Bibles with you and you commented in the chat the hardest thing you've ever had to do. And so I want you to open up to Acts chapter 9, verses 3 through 6. And we see this man named Saul. And we know a guy named Paul from past stories, but I want to talk to you about his former life, Saul. And so in Acts 9, verses 3 through 6, we see that he's on his way to a town called Damascus. And I don't know if you know where Damascus is or what he's actually doing, but Paul is on his way to Damascus to imprison Christians and possibly even kill them. And we see in Acts 7 that Paul is actually responsible for okaying the death of a man named Stephen. He's the one that gave the go-ahead to kill Stephen. And actually in the Bible it says that Saul hated Christians so much that it's as if he breathed out hate and anger against Christians. That's to say that the only reason for his existence is to kill Christians. That was his purpose on this earth. And so you can imagine this man didn't really like them very much at all. But in Acts 9 we see this. As he neared Damascus on his journey, suddenly a light from heaven flashed all around him. He fell to the ground and heard a voice say to him, "Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me?" We're going to jump back into this, but if you know me at all, we're going to skip ahead. And you know that I'm obsessed with the story of a man named David Goggins. And I know some of you are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he's getting into this. But stick with me because this is incredible. David is a black man who grew up extremely poor with an abusive father. He moved with his young mom and his brother to a town in Indiana called Brazil. And that ended up putting him smack dab in the middle of terrible racism. David was bullied, he was outcast, he was beaten down his entire life. He ended up extremely overweight. One day he came home from work, working as an exterminator, cockroach exterminator, and he told himself that when he sat down on that couch, after he finished drinking his chocolate milk, and after he finished eating his chocolate donuts, he was going to kill himself. He was going to end his own life. And that's when David saw a commercial on the TV for what you guys know as the Navy SEALs. He saw a commercial, and we see that on the road to Damascus, Saul had this experience coming face to face with Jesus. And we see that David Goggins came face to face with the Navy SEALs on a couch. And we call that coming to a road to Damascus moment. And that's what David Goggins had. So let me first show you where David Goggins is now. And trust me, you won't believe it. So I need you guys to look this up for yourself. Check out this picture of David right now in his life. David's website says this: David Goggins is a retired Navy SEAL and is the only member of the U.S. Armed Forces to complete SEAL training, including 2 Hell Weeks. He's the only member to also complete U.S. Army Ranger School, where he graduated as enlisted honor man, the #1 guy in the whole school. And he graduated from Air Force Tactical Air Control Training. Not only that, but he's the former world record holder for the most pull-ups in 24 hours. He did 4,030 pull-ups in 17 hours and then stopped. He could have gone for another 7 hours. That's crazy. He finished 3rd place in the Badwater 135. Look it up. It's the hardest race on the planet. Look it up. And many, many, many other achievements followed in David Goggins' life after that. And that's pretty incredible stuff. But let's jump back into our story here with the main man, Saul, and see how his life was changed. So Saul, remember, breathed out hate and anger against Christians. And after coming face to face with the risen Jesus, completely flips his life 180 degrees and commits himself to following Jesus and spreading the gospel anywhere and everywhere that he sees, that he looks at, that he breathes on, everywhere. And so in Acts chapter 13, we see Saul and Barnabas on their first missionary journey. It's also here where Saul changes his name to Paul. And so from now on, I'm going to refer to him as Paul. Even though even his old name changed, everything about him, even his old name. And Paul goes from murdering Christians to being arguably the most influential Christian ever in history. Don't call it a comeback, right? He goes on missionary journeys throughout the Mediterranean world. And Paul even raises someone from the dead in Acts chapter 20. That's incredible. I don't know if you understand this. Paul went from killing Christians to literally raising one from the dead. Like, think about that in your head for a second. Do you see how different the lives of these 2 men were? That's going to be super, super important as we continue to dive in. They couldn't be more opposite from their older selves. But, and that's a big but, it didn't come freely. So check out this video where David talks about persevering in his life through some of the most difficult circumstances you could possibly imagine.
I'm gonna cut to the chase. I signed up for this race. It's called the San Diego One Day, where you run around a 1-mile track for 24 hours to see how many miles you can get. My goal was 100 miles. So I got to mile 70, and I cleared 70 miles in like 12, 13 hours pretty quickly. But I was done. My feet were broken. I was stretch fractures, shin splints, muscles were tearing. I was in bad shape. I was eating Ritz crackers and drinking Mileplex. That's all I had. No water, didn't know what the hell I was doing out there. Had on some tube socks. It was just ridiculous. It was a clown show. So I sat down at mile 70, and at this time I was married. And I look at my wife and I was like, I'm messed up bad. So I literally start to turn white. I can't stand up because my blood pressure's all messed up. I've been in 3 Hell Weeks, Ranger School, overcome so many obstacles in my life. This last 30 miles of this race is when I realized a human being is not so human anymore. We have the ability to go in such a space if you're willing to suffer, and I mean suffer. Your brain and your body, once connected together, can do anything. And this 30 miles was the life-changing moment. I was out of it. I was in the worst pain in my entire life. I was, to me, on the brink of death.
Did you guys hear that? That's crazy to me. He ran 30 miles on 2 broken legs. Not only that, he ran 30 miles after running 70 miles. That's just unfathomable. Tie that in with the bullying that he faced in his earlier life and the abuse from his father when he was younger. The intense, absolutely the most intense training that you could possibly go through. And I would tell anybody, I would argue with anybody that David Goggins is the 3rd baddest man to ever walk the planet. Obviously, number 1 is Jesus. And then number 2 is Paul, right? So let's jump into Paul and see what he had to persevere through in his life. And Dave Goggins had to go through some stuff, man, but Paul had to go through arguably a lot worse. And so let's check this out. We only have to look at the life of Paul 2,000 years ago and see the immense persecution that he had to face. Let's read 2 Corinthians 11, verses 25 together. It says this: 3 times I was beaten with rods. Once I was pelted with stones. Being stoned is not a fun thing, let me tell you. 3 times I was shipwrecked, and I spent a night on the open sea. Did you guys, let's read that again. 3 times I was beaten with rods. Once I was stoned. 3 times I shipwrecked, and once I spent a night on the open sea. Talk about facing persecution. Oh my gosh. Paul lived a comfortable, easy life when he was a Pharisee, when he ruled over the Jews in the area and just had his way with the Christians, killing them. It couldn't have been easier for him. And when he came face to face with Jesus, he flipped his life around completely and chose this. He chose this life. Paul willingly faced these trials in his life in order to further the gospel message in the areas that he was preaching in. He didn't quit once he was stoned. Dave Goggins didn't stop at mile 70 when both of his legs were broken. Paul didn't lie down and die when he was beaten with rods or stoned. He actually got up and went right back into the city where the people were that stoned him. David Goggins didn't lie down and cry when he was at pull-up 4,020. No. The reason I'm telling you all of this is because we are all going to come face to face with immense persecution in our life in one form or another. What are we going to do? What's your reason for getting back up? Paul says his reason in Acts chapter 20, verse 24, where he says this right here. However, I consider my life worth nothing to me. My only aim is to finish the race and complete the task the Lord has given me. This is the task of testifying to the good news of God's grace. Guys, I have a tattoo on my arm right here. Let's see if we can pull it out. Philippians 1:21. And if you guys know what that says, go ahead and comment that in the chat. But what it says this: for me to live is Christ, and for me to die is gain. And see, Paul said those words to the church in Philippi as an encouragement to them. And I know death is kind of not super encouraging. But Paul, remember at the beginning I said that Paul existed. His only reason for existing was to kill Christians and to persecute them. And he wrote these words to Philippi after his life changed. And he says that for me, the only reason that I'm alive is because of Jesus. The only reason I go on living is to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ. So we can look at the life of Paul and we can see that God did amazing things through the life of a broken man. And look at us today. We live in a broken world. We're broken people. And God can use us to do amazing things. And so I want to leave you guys with the words of Paul to his protege Timothy, who started a church and was young and was broken, just like us. And he says this, at the end of his life, Paul says, I have finished the race, I have kept the faith, I have fought the good fight. Not in that order, but he says those things to Timothy. And guys, those are the words to us today as well. You have to fight the good fight, you have to finish the race, and you have to keep the faith. That's what we're called to in our life today. It was the same thing that Paul was called to when he recognized that his reason for living was Jesus. And we see Paul's used as a broken man, and we're broken as well, and God is going to use us to do amazing things. We got to recognize that our reason for getting back up when we come face to face with those persecutions, when the world throws us to the ground, our reason for getting back up is Jesus. That was Paul's reason, and he did amazing things for the kingdom. When we recognize that for ourselves, God is going to use us to do amazing things. I'm super encouraged that I get to witness you guys do that in your own lives. And some of you are doing it right now, and I'm so blessed to be able to see that. I cannot wait to see what the future holds for you when God uses you to do amazing things for His kingdom.
There's a table that you prepared for me in the presence of my enemies. It's your body, your blood you shed for me. This is how I fight my battles. There's a table that you prepared for me in the presence of my enemies. It's your body, your blood you shed for me. This is how This is how I fight my battles. This is how I fight my battles. This is how. In the valley, I know that you're with me. Surely your goodness and your mercy follow me. So my weapons are praise and thanksgiving. This is how I fight my battles. And I believe you've overcome, and I will lift my song of praise for what you've done. This is how I fight my battles. 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 This is It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you, God. It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. This is how I fight my battles. This is how I fight my battles. This is how I fight my battles. This is how. This is how I fight my battles. This is how I fight my battles. This is how I fight my battles. This is how. It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you, God. It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. This is how I fight my battles. This is how I fight my battles. This is how I fight my battles. This is how. It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you.
Hey, thanks again for joining us for this week's episode of Collective Life. Zane brought a great word about the Apostle Paul and perseverance. How can you continue to run the race that God's laid out for you, even when it gets challenging? Remember that ultimately, God uses broken people to do incredible things for his kingdom. We've got a great episode again for you next week, but as we continue tonight, we want to continue our conversation about Paul in small groups. You can do that by clicking on your campus link below this video, and someone will get you to the right place. If you don't know what campus you're at, just click one. We'll get you there. We promise. We'll see you in small groups. Those happen now. So go ahead and click just right below it's below the video. You just click it. That was like a mouse. I know that a lot of people, do people still use mice? Is it mice or is it mouses? I don't know. Just click the link. Look, some of you guys are standing around here just waiting for me to do something funny because it's been like, oh, the post-credit scene at Collective Live is funny now and we want to watch it all. I'm not going to do anything. It's just, this is it. This is the end of the video. I'm just gonna stay right here and keep doing this. So just click the link. It's just one click, and you'll be right where you need to be. So just do that. See, people are clicking the links now, so I appreciate that. Yeah, Faith, I'm glad that it's good that you've already clicked that. That's awesome, thank you. Oh, Emma, you're gonna be in small group. Awesome, we'll see you there. It's good, thank you for. Now, if everyone else can follow that example and just click the link. All right, guys, I'm done. Click the link, we'll see you in the small groups.